Good morning, Nashville. My name is Karl Sterling. I am thrilled to be here on WLAC as we begin a new journey, folks. We have a new show here. It's called Your Health Matters Nashville. This is so exciting for me. So I'm thrilled to be your guide on what I hope will be over the coming weeks, every Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., a transformative journey towards a healthier, longer, and more fulfilling life. Yep, we're going to dive deep. We're going to dive deep into the realms of health and longevity. Longevity, man, that's a big buzzword these days. Well, we're going to dig deep into that, let me tell you. So, this show isn't just about information, it's really about awakening your perspective on health. What is health? What is optimal health? How can we improve our health? How can we improve the odds of living longer and have a better quality of life as we age? It's about connecting the dots. This show is about that. It's about sparking change. I'm going to tell you, folks, I want to hit you right between the eyes with a dose of reality because, frankly, a lot of us need that shock factor. And I've been there. I was one of them. I want to tell you a little bit about me shortly. And then you're going to think, oh my gosh, well, I don't know what you're going to think, but I'll tell you, I needed a shock factor. And the reason I want to share these things with you is because I genuinely care about your well-being as an individual and as a society. I don't have to know you to care. I just automatically care. So I want to provide a positive spin on your health journey. And I want to challenge you. I challenge you to think like you've never thought before. I want you to break free from that cognitive dissonance. Oh man, I had that a few years ago, like 16, 17, 18 years ago. That cognitive dissonance that surrounds health and wellness, and help you to rephrase and shift perspectives, empower you, information, education every week to enhance both the length and the quality of your life so we can extend your health span within your lifespan. Oh man, I got all excited talking about this stuff because I do it. I live this now, but I share it every day with my clients and my patients. So, you don't know anything about me. I'm going to tell you just a little bit. So, again, my name is Karl Sterling. I couldn't be more thrilled to be here on Your Health Matters Nashville on WLAC and bringing you this information. This is a dream come true. So, I want to share education, right? I want to make a difference. Why is that? Well, I'm 63 years old. Okay, so I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Although in my mind, a lot of times I feel like I am, but my body does not agree. Well, there's a lot of us out there, right, who are not feeling the way we used to. In fact, we have an aging population with all kinds of health issues. Oh my gosh. So I was one of those people who was obese. And we're going back to about 2006. I'm 6'2". I weighed in close to 300 pounds. Now, it was a very short time that I was that heavy, but I was overweight for years, drinking too much, eating too much, not exercising. It was bad. And so when I share the things, today and upcoming episodes that I'm going to share with you, know that I've been there. I have been that person who's just been, let's say, negligent, ignorant, and just lazy, just pure lazy, folks. Well, you might not be lazy. I'm not saying that anybody's lazy out there, but we do have an aging population. And even with people who are not overweight or not obese, a lot of times there are other health issues that go along with it. But if we look at the baby boomers, right, that era is 1945 to 1964, I believe, is the era. No, 1946 to 1964 is the era of baby boomers. So I was born in 1961. It makes me a tail end boomer. Wow, there are so many of us. Think about it. How many boomers and people older than boomers. We have a lot of them too, right? Have you ever looked and thought about, maybe some of the people you know, or maybe you're one of these people. You got high blood pressure, you're dehydrated often, you're overweight, maybe you're obese, your blood sugar is out of control, you're type 2 diabetes, you've got insulin resistance, you've got heart problems, maybe you had cancer, maybe you had other problems. There are all kinds of things that can go wrong with us. If somebody smokes, a smoker, maybe a COPD, or you had lung cancer, or you're missing a lung now, or your kidneys don't work, you're in dialysis. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on and on. And the older we get, we don't take care of ourselves. We're inviting sickness. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm part of this aging population. I'm a baby boomer. I've had my own issues. I'm 63 now. I feel stronger, fitter, and better than I have ever felt in my whole life, but it did not come easily. Let me tell you that. So, my journey to feeling this way and being this healthy is the reason I'm in the business I am. I was a career musician. Yeah, I did other things too. I drove a truck for a couple of years. I mowed lawns at a lawn mowing business. Back in the 80s, I had a real estate license, a broker's license, and I sold houses and all that kind of stuff. And I actually did fairly well for a while in that, but I just didn't enjoy it, so I got out of it. I always fell back on music and being a drummer. That was my career. And when I went full time as a musician, anytime I was absolutely full time, and that was my only source of income. Oh, I'd gain weight. I'd be out. I'd be in smoky places. I was never a smoker, right? But I was a drinker. I definitely drank too much. I didn't drink so much when I was out, but I would drink when I got home. Well, that's bad. You got the wife and the kids are asleep. Okay, let's go get out the bottle. No, that's no good. Eating too much. So one day I had a physical, and my doctor was kind of a friend, and he looked at me. He says, "Karl, man, you are overweight. You're obese. You are heading down the road to disaster. And if you don't do something right now, here are the things that can happen." He read me the list and the riot act to go along with it. I felt so mortified. So I just couldn't believe that I had neglected myself. I cried. I left. I went right to the car. I called the best trainer I know of, and I worked with him for 1 year. I begged, I borrowed, I stealed. No, I didn't steal. That's only a joke. I borrowed from credit cards. I maxed them all out. This is a long time ago. I maxed out these credit cards, and I paid them all off. But I mean, it was hard work. This guy was also a dietitian. Well, he got me set up on an eating plan. He got me set up on working out. I was there 5 days a week, 3 days with him, and the other 2 days on my own in his gym. Almost every week, 5 days a week. I worked my tail off. I was never more than 1 hour there per visit. But I got to tell you something. 1 year later and 70 pounds lighter, I had this light bulb flash in my mind. Oh my gosh. If I can feel this good and move this well, my emotional state, my mental state, my hope, I had hope. You know what? And of course, physically, I was feeling great. If I can do this, maybe I can help other people do it. So I decided, bingo, I want to be a personal trainer. So I became a trainer. And you know what? That's what I've been doing ever since, except I went into neuro rehab. There's more. I'll tell you in a little while. But let's see. I got to look at my notes here, folks. So that's the general story of how I got into this business. And because I'll never forget how bad I felt. Well, I got into radio, and I have another show that I'll tell you about in the next segment. And you can go and check that out too. But to be here on WLAC is an absolute honor. I'm thrilled about this. And so we're going to go to a break in a few seconds. When we come back, we're going to dig into a few things about health and wellness to hit you right between the eyes, folks. Get you thinking about things a little different, I hope, and help you to increase that health span within your lifespan. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back. Like I said, folks, you don't know who I am, but you're going to get to know me here today and in coming weeks as I hit you with that's a shock factor. I needed it back in those days. I really needed to be hit right between the eyes with the truth. And when that doctor hit it, man, I was so devastated. But I was ashamed of myself. I was embarrassed. So, that's then, and this is now. Put in the work, build muscle, lose that extra fat, get healthy, improve my cardiovascular. You know, I've never felt better or stronger, and I am grateful. I am blessed and I am grateful. So, though, in this show, you're not only stuck with me, you're not only stuck listening to me. I got great news for you. I have world-class guests who will be joining me. These are leading experts in the areas of health, movement, and longevity. And before I tell you who some of them are, I want to get into a little psychological, philosophical thing here. I want you to think about right now where you're at. What are you thinking about in the future? Where do you think you might be 1 year? And I'm talking health wise, health, movement, quality of life. Where do you anticipate being? Is your life now as good as it was in all of those aspects? Is it as good as it was a year ago? Look back a year, look back 5 years, look back 10 years. Okay, now, again, I am not shaming anybody. I would never do that, and I don't judge. I work with every day with people who can't even walk, but a lot of times we can get them walking, right? So maybe you're a person who was walking 5 years ago, walking 10 years ago, or a year ago, and now you're not. Or you need a walker, or you need assistance of some kind, maybe a cane, whatever it is. Where are you now compared to the past 1, 5, 10 years? Okay, wherever you're at, where do you think you'll be in a year or 5 years or 10 years from now? These things creep up on us. This is the problem. Okay, we're moving around, we're doing sort of okay. Maybe we're doing really well. But then maybe we don't move as much. We retire and we decide, oh, I'm gonna take it easy. I've been worked my whole life. Hey, you deserve to take it easy. All right. You worked your whole life. You had a career. You did your thing. You made a difference. You supported your family, whatever it is. But now, what about you? Maybe you've been taking care of yourself, but have you been taking care of yourself? A lot of people, they help others before they help themselves. I mean, hey, that's an honorable thing, except that if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of those people down the road? Are you going to be able to? And if you're on a pathway, let's say to, not doing too well, whose burden do you want to be? Do you want to be anybody's burden? Because I can tell you one thing, I do not want to be a burden to anybody. So what can we do? All right. Well, there are certain things that are going to be out of your control. What if you have an accident? You're in a car accident. What if you're in a different type of accident? What if something just unexpected happens? Well, you know what? If you're working hard and you're trying to be healthy, you're trying to do your best, that's all you can do. If you don't do that, well, you could be into some serious problems, right? So we have the side of the coin here. We have the side of the equation that equals, well, some things are out of our control. God forbid something bad happens. But we have the other side, which fits more of us, which is if we do the work, we do the right things, we work towards maintaining enough muscle mass, keep moving, keep active. The benefits from this are going to go so far. Your mind, your body, it's all going to benefit. Oh, I've got stuff to share with you. You won't even believe what we're going to get into. In fact, let's talk about some of these guests coming up. But remember, I want you to think about this. Whose burden do you want to be? I would be scared. I would be frightened to even think that I could be a burden to somebody someday. All right, enough of that. In the past, I have had many guests on my podcast, and then I started a radio show in Syracuse, New York, on WSYR, right? So there's another iHeart network. I hope it's okay I say that here on WLAC, which is a beautiful station. I love I love what they're programming. Okay, so I have had, and I will have, to be here on this show with me, people like Dr. Dale Bredesen. Well, who is he? He is the author of a best-selling book, New York Times bestseller called The End of Alzheimer's. All right, well, I'm looking at these books on my bookshelves now. He has 3 books. And I think when I talk with him soon in a couple of days, we'll be recording an episode. I think he has a new book coming out. So I got him coming on very soon. And I'll be sharing that interview with you, probably in 2 different shows because it's going to be 2 hours. In any case, he is the world's leading authority on not only preventing Alzheimer's, but in stopping it and reversing it in many cases. Folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. Stay tuned. Stay tuned every week. And if you don't catch the show while it's on the air, okay, there's going to be a podcast link. You can go to karlsterling.com. That's Karl with a K. karlsterling.com, and you can sign up for my email list or my daily text messaging. Do both, though, because it's different content for longevity and health. And you're going to get, every week, you'll get the latest shows emailed to you. Or you just go to the WLAC website on iHeart, and there will be a podcast link there under Karl Sterling, Your Health Matters Nashville. All right. And it may not come up for a couple of weeks, but it's going to be there. So you can listen to all the recorded episodes there. But also, go to the website, karlsterling.com, Karl with a K. All right. So Dale Bredesen is one of the leading experts on reversing Alzheimer's. As a matter of fact, I personally know physicians who are implementing the Bredesen protocol, and I personally work with a lot of the patients who are working with these doctors who administer this protocol. And between what they do and what I do in my rehab, we are seeing people with Alzheimer's and dementia whose cognition and memory is improving. All of the neurological standardized testing that we do, the MOCA test and some other things, and even the movement test, these scores are improving, folks, because the brain has this amazing way of adapting through neuroplasticity. It's basically, if you talk about it in simple terms, the brain is moldable, it's changeable, and we can take control over our brains, and we can actually make our brains healthier and make them work better in almost all cases. I wouldn't kid you on this stuff, folks. I've been doing this for 13 years this year, working in the neuro rehab field. And my number one muscle I'm going after, and of course it's not a muscle, but I call it a muscle, it's the brain. All right, all the other stuff is secondary, and I'll tell you why. Because the brain and the nervous systems, specifically the brain, and when it comes to movement, your central and peripheral nervous systems are all in a continuous loop together. If you have a break in any one of those, you have a break in everything. That loop is broken and things don't work right? You're not going to move as well. Well, we can retrain. We can retrain the brain to help you move better. We do it every day. Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, multiple system atrophy, progressive supranuclear palsy, ataxia, dystonia, dyskinesia, dementia, Alzheimer's, and just anyone. I mean, I'm always trying to learn. First thing I do every day, get up in the morning, make my coffee. Got to have the coffee, the fuel. Sit down and read. It could be 10 minutes, could be an hour. Depends on what time I need to be at work, working with my first client or patient of the day. But I want to learn, because I want to bring the best to my clients, and I want to bring the best to you. So we're going to head out to another break here. You're listening to Your Health Matters Nashville. My name is Karl Sterling. Got something real exciting to share with you that's going to be happening in Lebanon, Tennessee, beginning September 4th. So stay tuned, and I'll tell you what's going on there, because it's going to be really cool. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right, gang, we're back. I'd like to just mention a product that a lot of my clients use, my patients use. I use it too. And yes, this is a program that's a paid program. So without sponsors, I cannot bring you this program. Well, this company, this gentleman has been a sponsor of this show and my other show in Syracuse, New York. Dr. Lewis Nutrition, okay, the Daily Brain Care Formula. I've been taking it for close to a year. Let me tell you about it. This formula is made to help you, let's say, with a powerful combination of 6 functional foods and the highest bioavailable aloe vera and a unique rice bran blend with hundreds of essential phytonutrients. They happen to include amino acids, cofactors, vitamins, and secondary. Well, the deal is it's designed to help you to improve your memory, improve your sharpness, improve your cognition. Other things that it's helped a lot of people is just to feel better overall. I feel that I'm probably having a less inflammation now than I used to. Of course, I'm very careful about what I eat too, because you can just pop a snack of the wrong things and be all inflamed like that. Boom, done, inflamed. Well, this does help, I believe, with that, but it also helps people to sleep better in many cases. Well, we have a sleep epidemic here of people who can't sleep. I have a lot of tricks up my sleeve for that, which I'll share with you over time. But let's take a look at this, some novel findings. For example, in response to taking this formula, Daily Brain Care, and I'm going to say this, okay, and if you're on Prevagen and you like it and it works, that's okay. There's nothing wrong. I'm going to tell you this stuff is way better, though. Way better. People with moderate to severe Alzheimer's had an improvement in cognitive function, which is unheard of, compared to 5 of the FDA-approved drugs, and I think there's a 6th now, for dementia and any other type of conventional or natural treatment. And they also had just under a 300% increase in production of adult stem cells. Well, these are like these cells in your brain. Your cerebellum every day generates around, I believe it's 700. Yes, I'm looking at my notes here. 700 new stem cells are developed every day. Well, a stem cell is a raw cell that doesn't know what to do. So you need to train it. So this is why we need to keep on learning. We need to keep on feeding our brain healthy foods because, everything you eat not only affects your body, but affects your brain. In fact, do you know, according to Harvard Medical School professor Dr. John Rady, and if you've ever heard of the book Spark or Go Wild or let's say User's Guide for the Brain, well, John is a friend of mine. He's a really cool guy who I hope to get on the show here as a guest. He's been on my podcast, and you can go to karlsterling.com and click on the podcast. You'll find him down in there. But he says the part of the body that benefits most from exercise, get this, gang, it's your brain. Your brain benefits most. Oh, man, I've got so much to share with you. I just want to share it all, like right now. But we have an hour, so I'll share what I can right now. Well, go to Dr. Lewis. Let me share you the right thing here. drlewisnutrition.com. Okay, so it'd be DRLEUIS nutrition.com. drlewisnutrition.com. This daily brain care is a game changer. Complete game changer. Proven results in multiple studies. It's been around a long time. I take the powder format usually and I put it in my smoothie, but it's available in capsules as well. Okay, so let's get back to some of the future guests we'll have on the show. All right, we talked about Dale Bredesen. You're going to love that one. We have, let's see, who else we got here? We got Dr. Terry Walls, the Walls Protocol. If you haven't heard of that one, and that's WAHLS, and Terry, Terry. She's in Iowa. She's a medical school, clinical director, professor, medical school there. She's an amazing person. She lives with multiple sclerosis. 20 years ago, approximately, I talked with her recently, and she told me a little bit more about her story. Plus, she's been on my other radio show, but she'll be here too. So, go over there and check it out. You can also just go to karlsterling.net. That's Carl with a K, sterling.net. And that goes right to the YouTube playlist of all radio shows I've done in the past, plus all the podcasts going back 10 years ago. This month I started it. Well, July, actually. So, Terry's in about 2006. She was in one of those wheelchairs. I can forget the name of the wheelchair, but she was wheelchair bound. She couldn't stand up. She couldn't do anything without a lot of assistance. Well, guess what? She's walking, she's running, she's riding her bike. It took her a few years to get there, but she ditched the conventional medical world treatment after 3 years of using it and not getting much progress. Now, I'm not saying you should ditch your treatments and I will never say that. However, I'm just telling you a story, and the story is she ditched her treatments medical wise. She went down the road of a clean diet, very specific type of diet, clean with her macros of healthy carbs, healthy fats, and plenty of protein, and keeping her inflammation down. And bingo, she started running. She started riding her bike. It's amazing. We got her. We got Dr. Ray Dorsey, best-selling author of Ending Parkinson's. Yes, Ending Parkinson's is the name of his book. He's coming on. Oh, God, folks, we have so many other ones, too. We'll get to more of them in a little bit. But we're going to be bringing, we being me, of course, world-class guests, world-class information, education, things that are going to change your life. This is what I'm here for. I want to share things you've never heard before. And if you've heard them before, great. I'm happy. But maybe you didn't implement. You need a little poke. You need a little poke. Like, hey, get moving here. Get doing this stuff. Because life is short. Holy cow, where'd it go? 63 years already. I feel like it was yesterday. I was 33. Well, no, it's 30 years ago, but it seems so recent in some ways. All right, so another thing I wanted to mention here, folks, we go back to this thing about being a burden. Well, I don't want to be one. I'm sure you don't either. Always, always, always know. I'm totally never here to judge. Never, ever, ever. And I will never judge. But there's some facts that need to be stated. 40% of Americans are obese. Overbees. Hey, that might be a new word. Overweight. I'm sorry. 70% overweight, 40% obese. That's a recent thing here. Some type of obese. I mean, you could be at a 31 BMI or 30 BMI and you're considered obese. Well, we do have to look at the reality here that there are certain people who measure obese, but they're not. Like, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, his BMI is really high, but he's not obese. He's just a big muscle, And I mean, hey, that's great, man. Kudos to him for all the hard work he does. The guy is so disciplined. It's unbelievable. It's fantastic. But we're really running into like a crisis here. We have a crisis of multiple different factors. Besides overweight, how about this? How about under-muscled? Oh, friends, under-muscled population. You know that so many people are lacking sufficient muscle mass to move well. Well, muscle is actually considered the number one. First of all, it's not just muscle. It's an organ, and it's the largest organ in your body. Now, when I was growing up, they said it was my skin. No, it's your muscle. You know why muscle's an organ? Because metabolism happens in muscles. And if you don't have enough muscle, you're going to have a low metabolic rate. You won't be burning many calories. And plus, you might not be moving so well because muscle is the foundation for all things movement, health, mobility, stability, agility, and longevity. We're going to head out for a break. We'll come back for the last quarter of the hour here. We'll get more into this longevity stuff and talk about some things you can expect to hear in the coming weeks. You're here listening to Karl Sterling, host of Your Health Matters Nashville, right here on WLAC. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. And we're back. All right, gang. Well, again, this is Your Health Matters on WLAC. My name's Karl Sterling. I'm just so happy to be here. I got a couple things I'd like to share with you. let's keep talking about muscle before we talk about what's happening in Lebanon, Tennessee, starting September 4th. It's going to be so good. All right, so let's get back to this muscle stuff. All right. In fact, I did a radio show on this in Syracuse back in January, and I got when I told people what I was going to talk about in the coming show, said in maintaining sufficient muscle mass through the lifetime, they're like, "What? Why? That sounds ridiculous." Because people don't understand. There's nothing wrong with it if you don't understand the importance of sufficient muscle, but let's talk about the death spiral. Oh, that sounds bad. But you know what? If you've ever heard of Dr. Peter Attia, Attia, he's a best-selling author. I have not been able to get him to join me on either show, but I'll keep working on that. He's real busy. He's big. He's like the Joe Rogan of the health stuff, right? If you will. I hope it's okay I said that. But anyways, I just mean he's big. I'm trying to make that correlation there, right? So he is he writes about the death spiral, and here's what it is. For example, this isn't everybody, of course, but for example, let's say we get to a point in our lives for some reason and we stop moving as much. Well, we stop working out. We're going to lose muscle mass. As a matter of fact, I had Dr. Michael Joyner, who was also on Peter Attia's podcast. Attia's got a great podcast called The Drive. Just Google it. You'll find it. So Joyner was on his show, and I liked it so much, I had him on my show in Syracuse, and he talks about this thing that happens called obligatory aging muscle decay. Wow, I had never heard of that before, and I've been in this business a long time. Now, I knew that muscle can decay and is going to decay as we age, and that the only way to fight back against that is to do resistance training and stay active. But there's much more to it than that, folks. Think about the job that muscle does, okay? It is the largest organ in your body. It is the foundation for all things movement. Every single thing you do, every step you take, whether it's forwards, backwards, sideways, rotating, whatever, it is responsible for allowing you to sit down in a chair and getting you back up. It's responsible for putting the dishes overhead in the cupboard and bringing them back down and rolling over in bed and everything. It's the organ of longevity, and it's foundational in our movement. And when we start to lose muscle, we start to lose a lot of things, okay? We could be very, very healthy, but at some point, maybe it's in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, but especially when you get in 70s, 80s, we start to really run into that obligatory part, that aging part. So what happens is type 2 muscle fibers tend to diminish in their capabilities quicker than type 1s. Well, what does that mean? Well, type 2 are the ones that are, I believe they're called slow twitch, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is they would be responsible for things like jumping, running, sprinting, not running, sprinting, high work output, explosive output, short duration of time. Well, maybe you're not doing that, so you're thinking, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter because those are highly correlated with balance. And if we're losing type 2 muscle fibers in their ability to help us balance, then our balance gets compromised, fall risk goes up, falls increase, injuries increase. Oh, I got a stat for you here. Now I got two different stats. I'm going to tell you both. The two different studies. Age 65 and up, for people who fall and break a femur, okay, that's the bone that goes from your knee up into your hip, or a hip, to break a femur or a hip. 1 year later, 30% of those people are deceased, and most of the rest aren't back to being as mobile as they were before the fall. Another study says that 50% are dead, but whatever it is, it's bad. It's bad, right? So we want to maintain muscle at least so we can move well. But geez, you don't want to be falling down. You know what else, though? Muscle is directly correlated with bone health, especially bone density. Do you know if we're under muscled, there's a much higher likelihood of having osteoporosis, osteopenia, brittle bones. So now you have compromised balance, right? Because your type 2s are diminishing, muscles diminishing, your bones are more brittle, your fall risk goes up, fracture risk goes up, mortality rate goes up. One more thing about muscle. We said it before, we're going to say it again. This is where metabolism happens. You build 2 pounds of muscle, 5 pounds of muscle. I put on about 11 pounds of muscle in the past year, and I can tell you my body fat's the lowest it's been in my adult life since about 33 years ago. Well, I worked hard to do it, but I refuse to be a burden if I have any control over it. I want to go into my 70s, my 80s, my 90s. I told my mother when I was 5 years old, we're sitting on the front porch. I said, Mom, I'm going to live to be a functional. Well, I didn't say functional. I didn't know that word back then. I'm going to live to be 100. And of course, over time, I'm like, well, a healthy 100. I'm going to move well. All right. So we're going to have Michael Joyner on the show, too, by the way. Dr. Michael Joyner from Mayo Clinic, world renowned for his work. Let's talk about Lebanon. Okay. Before we close out here in about 3.5 minutes, the Lebanon Dojo. Just go to thelebanondojo.com because starting September 4th, that's a Wednesday night, they're going to begin a Ishinru neuromotor training program. Well, you know what's beautiful about it? You're going to be working on the body. You're going to be working on the brain. I'm in Nashville right now, and I've been over at the dojo helping them put this together because neuromotor is my brand and Ishinru is their brand, right? But the beauty of this is, folks, first of all, it's for people 50 and up, all right? 50 years old and up. That's our target. The other thing is there's no combat. You're not going to be in there hitting each other and kicking each other. You're not going to be sparring. You won't be fighting. But you will be training your body and your brain. And that's the deal. We're going to be training the body. So you're going to develop strength, core strength. You're going to develop, let's say, a higher level of cardiovascular health. You're going to improve your balance. You're going to improve your multitasking skills. You're going to improve your cognition, your memory, and movement. And when I say multitasking, I'm talking movement and cognition or hand-eye coordination at the same time. This is what I've been doing the past decade, here in my clinic. And the program is beautiful. You might do a little bit of a kata form, right? But this program is a one of a kind. We're starting. I'm starting with Tony, the owner of the facility, and my friend Don, who's a black belt there. And, we're putting this together. This program is going to be absolutely a game changer for body and brain. It's all with longevity in mind. It's all about improving that health span, your movement, your agility, mobility, stability, everything within your lifespan. So go to thelebanondojo.com, inquire. You're going to see everything there. You're also going to, you'll have all these different assessments you're going to go in with. You're going to get so much information about yourself, and then you retest after 60 days, all these assessments to measure your progress. It's one of a kind. It's a game changer, and I can't wait for it to get started. So, folks, we're coming to the end here. It's about time to bow out and say adios until next week. It's an honor to be here, folks, on WLAC Nashville. Again, this is my name is Karl Sterling. This is your Health Matters Nashville. I'm so happy to be here. Please join me next week here, again, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and remember, you can always go to karlsterling.com. That's Karl with a K, karlsterling.com. And you'll get the recorded episodes of these as soon as they're up. And check out everything else there, too, because the other radio show in Syracuse, we got a lot of episodes. So thank you, everybody. Thrilled to be here. Have a fantastic day. Make it a healthy day. We'll be back at it next week. Take care.